Hello and welcome everyone to the Friday, August 4th edition of the Contributor Comms team meeting. As a reminder, we are operating under a code of conduct. I was trying to decide if I was going to say the whole thing. Now I'm going to say it. We are part of SIG ContribEx, which is part of Kubernetes, which is part of the CNCF. So we operate under their code of conduct, which says to basically be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. To start off the meeting, we try to open an opportunity for anyone who's new to the call to say hello by either unmuting or typing in chat. I don't think that we have anyone new today, but if you are new or if you would just like to introduce yourself, you are welcome to do so now. Totally optional. All right, welcome to that at any time. So let's dive into it. We were having a good discussion before we started the recording, so let's go ahead and start off with that, which was about deprecating or removing the storyteller handbook, role handbook. So for context, storyteller was a role that was created when this group was created as like a catch-all. Anyone who is contributing to this group is a storyteller, someone who'll be writing blog posts or social media posts. You know, you'll be telling stories in some medium. So we had that kind of catch-all role with some general advice and rules and stuff for the group, I guess. But no one knows what that means. No one knows what a storyteller is. Nobody really considers themselves a storyteller. So we're thinking we'll just deprecate or maybe even just totally remove that from the handbook. And that was the basis of the discussion. Continue.
I am in favor of removal over deprecation, but Federico, do we keep our deprecated documentation around?
I mean, I'm very honest that you're asking me like I should know.
Like you should know.
This is a step up, definitely. Yeah. So I'm going to do what I do in like when I'm interviewing with new companies. I'm going to pretend that I have a good answer. So
good advice, kids.
It's better to be completely like,
yeah. It's gotta feel good.
No,
coming out.
I mean, ultimately, our entire documentation is in Git, so nothing is really gone, right?
Yeah.
And if we, from a functional perspective, think that we should remove it, I think that we should just remove it from the visible aspect of it, which means remove the file, remove the mentions, etc. At any point in time, anyone can, through this meeting and through the Git commit messages, can perfectly see that we had a certain path, we made a certain decision, and actually the removal should be done through a commit, which will gain the approval and discussion. So I think this is the natural way to go. But maybe there's something else, some existing practice that I'm
no, I don't know of one, and I've never seen us like say, oh yeah, this thing's deprecated, but we're going to keep it around, you know.
Well, we did that with the events. We did that with the events lead role just like last week.
Oh,
but one that could be a source of confusion. That's why.
Yeah, like why is this role deprecated? Why is it even here? Kind of thing is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we could remove that one as well.
Yeah, I would say remove them both. If we have the resources from them in other places, or we've at least looked at them, remove them.
I'm cool with that. What do you think, Avinash?
Yeah, I think it's good. We can remove that as well.
Cool. 1 PR for removing both of them seems reasonable, since we've already agreed that the other one is deprecated. This will just remove both of them. I think that's good.
Delete.
Alrighty. Some point, like in the next month or two, I'm probably going to hear about thoughts for this, and I'm going to be like, oh. We'll see. Only other thing I put into updates was that Chris was working on putting together some material for our keynote video. So in the keynotes at KubeCon North America, there's going to be videos for each of the SIGs, and we were asked to help out with that. So what we chose to do was just put together some information that we could talk about in the video. And so we handed that off to the co-chairs and the tech leads to decide who's actually going to record that video, because they wanted one of the new folks to do it, since we have new leadership in the SIG, to be like, here is one of the new people. So we haven't decided that yet, but we do have that handed off, and that's due in less than a week. So
Yeah,
that's
6 days.
fine.
I will say I was working on this and I had to hand it off to Kazan because life at work got really, really weird this week. So I've been spending time on that.
Granted, I think it should have been happening anyway at this point. So,
Right. Yeah.
but if you do need help with anything, as that goes for anyone, if you ever
Right.
have stuff going on, you can't be around and you could use some help, just let us know. We got your back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As much as we can. And if we don't, then it will just sit there until you get back. One of the two will happen and it'll be fine.
Now,
So
given
that's all I have.
no, I spent a solid like 2 days this week just working on like administrative stuff. Like it was awful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sometimes
like-
that's
like-
what you gotta do.
Yes, but spending 2 whole days of your week doing it, not fun.
I mean,
I'll just
you
say
have-
that
you ha-
like up front.
You have to hand them the TPS report.
Yes. And then get an exemption for why your TPS reports aren't going to come again.
This
I
is
don't know what
for
TPS
those
stands
that's
for.
because this is from this. I guess that I'm getting old as this
Yeah.
effect that
Yeah.
I'm using references which are likely completely inadequate for the modern generation, but they are very applicable. So everyone try to search for Office Space.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen
a-
Office Space. I just don't remember.
Yeah,
It's
and it's
such an
still
amazing and accurate
Yeah.
movie.
very much.
It is really
very
good.
much so.
I figured that was an Office Space reference, but I don't remember what those stand for. Or if they stood for anything, maybe they didn't.
No, they
That
don't.
is
never
the kind
knew
of thing Office
actually.
Space would do.
Yeah.
Like I think there's some people that have like TPS reports in some industries, but it's not like a common thing. I don't know.
The movie Office Space is what that's from.
Good stuff.
Weekend plans added. Look at this, helping to spread culture. Office Space.
What would you do
Ba-
if you
back-
went to the work site and said somebody had a case of the Mondays? Wow, we'd probably whoop their ass.
PC load letter. What the fuck is that?
My
It's a
God.
pretty funny movie about
Right,
the terrible
it's-
things
yeah,
about
it's
working in an
fair-
office.
Yes.
It's citing references throughout the thing. The sad
Yeah.
thing is looking back
Very
and looking that they even had the right to their own cubicles, which is now a
Right, like
luxury
that's not a
can't
thing
have.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's
Like, wow,
true.
you have a whole cubicle to
Cubicle,
yourself?
yeah.
Remember when I had a cubicle? I remember when I had an office.
I had an office once. Yeah. Now I have an office here.
Only as an intern. I never had it when I was working full time, only as an intern. Right at that transition. All right. That's it for updates, big wins, such as watching Office Space.
Mhm.
And now for new items, such as watching Office Space. The first thing I put on here is the Code of Conduct Committee election. So we mentioned this, I guess that was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Is that how time works? Wow. Okay.
Yes.
All
yeah.
right. On Wednesday we had the SIG meeting, and so there's currently 2 election things going on. There's the steering committee election, which opens up imminently. And there's the Code of Conduct Committee election, which they're trying to do. It like kind of overlaps with the steering committee election, but they're trying to finish it up before steering committee election. Not like entirely before it, because that starts imminently, but earlier
that
than the steering committee election.
The
ends, I
goal was
guess.
not to have someone on both, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's logic
So
there, yeah.
yeah, they don't want to have someone who's running for both and then gets both, because you can't be on both, which we don't actually have recorded anywhere, but we're working on that part. So that election is happening. The open call for folks to submit their candidacy closes today. And they asked us on Wednesday to send out a reminder email, which I have not done at all because I had other things going on.
God.
Chris has
Oh,
other things
sorry.
going on. I asked Arpit about it. I don't know. Is Arpit on today?
Yep.
Arpit is on.
Yep.
Yes. I don't remember where we left
Actually, I
that.
recently joined it.
Hello.
I recently joined it.
Welcome. We were talking about the Code of Conduct Committee election, or I sent you a message about that. Did you see that? Did we actually talk about that? I don't remember.
I saw that like just in half an hour ago.
Okay, cool. So we should probably send out an email as soon as possible on that.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have time, Arpit, maybe we should hang out for a few minutes when we're done here and just write that up real quick.
Yep. Yeah, I have time.
Cool. That'd be a great way to do it. Then you get the experience of kind of seeing how that works, and we get the email written and sent out, and we'll be all good. I think that's a good plan. Any questions, comments about that?
No, sounds good.
Cool. Write up an email after the call. Very good. And Frederico added some new issues to the board and went ahead and put them into new items. If you'd like to give us a little preview of what those are.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of them are just conversion of drafts that existed that I've converted to actual issues because they are indeed moving forward. One of them is the spotlight on the book reading club. Talked with Carlos Santana, and it's a go. And already shared the questions actually, and we're discussing if we could have also a video interview, because I think he likes that as well. So that's a discussion that is going on. But the main point, there's going to be a spotlight on the book reading club, and that's the issue that's created. And also created an issue for an update to the blogging guidelines, because in the SIG CLI spotlights, I've detected a slight difference between what's written and what the actual process should be, namely in terms of what kind of content should be on both contributor site and websites when we are publishing in both. So I've opened that up in order to and assigned it to myself to change the guidelines to better reflect the reality. And well, SIG testing, I've added the issue from draft because that one is also proceeding. So and we had discussed this last week, and that is it.
Perfect. Sounds good. And since you were talking about blogging stuff, I also remembered another update. FICA, who is working on the SIG ContribEx spotlight, has written a draft.
Yeah, I've also
Yay.
talked with FICA, and
perfect.
I've already shared the next step. So that's that, and I will also create an issue for that. But I spoke with FICA today, so I didn't have the time to reflect that on the board.
Well, good. And the SIG, the blogging guidelines, you're doing yet another update of those. I'm impressed. I wanted to say, you're really good at keeping those
that
up to
is. That should be good to go. I did capture your comments, and you were absolutely right. I was going at it from a different perspective, but now I think I've covered both of them. I've improved the requirements, what is expected from a shadow, and I also added what is reasonable to expect from anyone that wants to be a shadow.
Perfect. That'll be good. Um, yeah, I'm really excited about that book reading club spotlight too. I love the idea of book reading clubs. I don't think I will ever succeed at being part of one, but
No, yeah.
do love the idea.
Yeah.
I've given up on those.
I tried starting one. Didn't work.
I think the key is you
Uh,
have to like read fast. And like that's
don't.
the hurdle for me. I don't, right?
Very
Like,
much do not.
no.
Nope. Read extremely slowly and get distracted constantly. Yep. All right. So I think that's it for new items. And is that did FICA join in?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Looks like maybe. FICA, if you just joined in, we had just said that your ContribEx spotlight is finally in draft. Very sorry about that. Totally not your fault. But I'm really excited for that. Do you want reviews from anyone at this point? Do you want to open that up, or just a few reviews, or what you got going on?
Yeah, hi Keishley, hi everyone. I've shared the link of the draft already with y'all on Slack with Federico and Keishley. You all can just check that over, and I think that's all. And we can sum up the entire blog.
That is what I was writing down in my to-do list.
Yeah,
Spotlight.
what I've shared with FICA as well is that if it gets turned into Markdown and shared in HackMD, for example, we can just share it in the channel for the initial round of reviews. Although we don't get a lot of reviews at that stage. I already shared this before. Like it's a good idea in theory, but in practice, I see very little feedback during that stage. But anyway, there's nothing lost because we do need it in Markdown format anyway. So I guess it's good to have that at least a couple of days of it there, just for those in the community and in our smaller community to be able to review it before opening up the GitHub issue.
Just in
Yeah.
case. Makes sense. Sounds good. That's the other thing I need to put down.
That being said, there's nothing against, for example, sharing a link to the present incarnation of it, even if it's not in Markdown, because we're at this point essentially focused on content and not on structure or in markup. So FICA, as you see, as you prefer. If you want, we can also pick up the link as is right now and share it in our channel, just for anyone to have
Markdown. I'll do that.
Okay, excellent.
I thought you would review it first and then I'll convert it in the Markdown one. I'll do it right away. No problem.
Excellent. Yeah, better. Yeah,
Cool.
better still. Perfect.
Sounds
Thank you.
good. Yeah. Thank you so much for seeing that through, FICA, despite all of the challenges. Spotlights can be like that sometimes. I feel like we've done particularly badly. ContribEx. All right. There's one other thing that we have here in our notes, which I think is Chris, probably. Zapier to GitHub to buffer might be possible.
Yeah, so I looked at it very quickly before the meeting in the past hour. And basically the workflow is you connect Zapier to a GitHub account, but that GitHub account has to have admin access in GitHub to the thing, or else you can't really do much with it, right? Like there's no like read-only mode, which sucks. But there is a Zapier option for new commit comment. And that I think is a potential avenue we could take, because we could say, hey, comment matches approve or /approve, and off you go kind of thing. I don't know if that's the perfect workflow, but it's going to be a little clunky. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds weird.
Mhm.
I think we had determined before that it would be possible, but also there's the scheduling issue. So we basically, I don't think we're ever going to work out scheduling with GitHub originating tweets. Just going to have
well,
to do it manually at some
Yeah,
stage.
the ideal state would be we actually get PRs against some kind of file that's basically a running log or something to that effect. And we say, oh, new thing here with an approved label, ship it off kind of deal. It's gonna be tough, like very tough. So yeah, we should consider other ways of getting tweets, I think, at this point. But Sujay hasn't looked at it yet, and I was going to give him access to all that stuff after the meeting. So, or
I
maybe
think we had
Monday.
talked about that. Nobody ever really used that process anyway.
Yeah, I'll
Honestly,
look
it's
into it after the meeting.
cool. Honestly, it's probably better for folks to just reach out to us in Slack anyway.
Mhm.
Avinash had a comment in the chat, which was Zapier to YouTube to Zoom video. Zapier YouTube to Zoom
that works.
video automation is in test.
Oh, yeah. Wait, Zapier to where?
So YouTube to Zoom, or maybe the opposite one, whatever it
Oh,
is.
Zoom
Probably
to
the
YouTube.
opposite way.
As-
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Zoom to YouTube.
Zoom
So it goes
to-
from Zoom to Google Drive, and then from Google Drive, it goes to YouTube. There's two different zaps in that process. So the Google Drive to YouTube thing is supposed to be able to identify the videos, I think. Nigel set that one up. Yeah.
Good
Looks like it's
stuff.
going
I'm glad that you're
fine.
enjoying learning
Yeah.
about those.
The
I also
yeah,
missed your.
Sorry, go ahead.
I missed his earlier comment that he didn't know that there were 2 elections. Same.
Yeah, like neither did we. So don't feel bad.
Dev's hard to pay attention to.
So yeah, that combo platter of stuff should be working or can work if you
The
set it up, I
Zapier
think.
YouTube Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was, yeah.
So yeah, there's 2 roles here, or 2 jobs, tasks, whatever you want to call them. A new recording in Zoom from SIG ContribEx leads goes to the Google Drive and then gets uploaded accordingly, basically, you know. So yeah, it all lands in one test folder, but somehow based on these actions, it can label things correctly and then it works. I don't know. I don't know how the whole workflow goes. It'd be nice to diagram that somehow.
That'll be good stuff. I know that they've been needing that automation, right?
Yeah,
It's a little
and
bit
we've
too
had
manual
it
of a process right now.
Yeah, and Nigel's got it going for ContribEx and Docs, right? So
I
it's
see.
possible.
So I was like, I thought that was working in some places.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can get it done, but you have to sign in as like that group's Zoom account and also say, save to this folder with this file name, that kind of thing. And then there's probably a filter to go from Google Drive to Zapier, I think. I have no idea. Anyways, every time I look on Zapier, I get a little bit more confused. So yeah, good stuff.
Which means that you've reached a good level of understanding of it, probably.
Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it says
Technology.
upload video and uses that. But yeah, it's not really using any filters or anything. So this might just be, oh, it's uploading all videos. Doesn't matter the title. It's just like ship it. Okay, cool. That makes sense. So yeah, if new video is in this folder, random folder that gets, it ends up there via one zap that goes from Zoom to Google Drive. And then there's another zap to go from Google Drive, all the videos that are new over to YouTube. So all you really have to do is set up the Zoom to Google Drive part, but you need that SIG's like Zoom account login kind of deal to make that happen. But you only need it once and you're good. So yeah, that's how that scales, I think.
Good stuff. It's always good to hear Zapier automation moving forward. And Fika has an interesting comment here in the chat. Would you like to talk about it, Fika?
Yeah, so I was going through the Spotlight blogs, which was pushed earlier, and I went through this one was called as SIG usability blog. But I found out that all the links were broken. And then when I went through their mailing list and all the other stuff, I also found out that this SIG has now been shut down because of low participation and all the other reasons. So now I felt that why should we not update the same on the website as well? Because when I was going through the website, I was so interested that I wanted to participate in that SIG. But then when I explored more, I found out that it is not no more existing. So I think this should be updated on the website as well, that this SIG has now been closed. Similarly about the other SIGs which are closed.
Yeah, we can. Should we?
It sounds very reasonable.
Yeah, like I would almost say like in Hugo, just mark it as a draft and pull it all together because if it's linking to dead stuff,
So the
it's
blog,
not helping. Yeah.
well, the blog is
actual-
on like the Kubernetes blog, right? Kubernetes.io.
Yeah, and we can. That's Hugo too. We can swap
Oh,
that
okay.
to draft if need be, and then it's just kind of not published, but it's still there.
Or I feel like we should say like, just like update that blog and say the SIG no
This is
longer
no
exists,
more.
but this is what it was.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's fine too.
Yeah,
We should just add a note at the end saying that the SIG has been shut down due to this
Yeah.
particular reason.
probably
No,
at the
add
start.
Add it at
Yeah.
the very beginning. Yeah,
Beginning,
and then
yeah.
we should probably.
Yeah, just
remove-
like we did with the event lead role,
Yeah.
Oh,
just leaving a comment at the very beginning.
I don't know if you were here for that, by the way, but we're talking about
No.
removing that file entirely.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's
we
in the
had
Git
done that.
history basically. So yeah.
Yeah, but just relying on the Git history for this was a thing at one point. That's what we're thinking on that. But yes, for the blog post, I think that is probably what we should do because I did not know that SIG was gone. And
Me either.
They
I
did a
yeah.
presentation at a KubeCon and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
That channel is archived and I checked their mailing list. That is where they post this mail that the SIG is going to be closed.
Yeah, we should definitely
Hmm.
update that.
Yeah.
All right, so what tasks do we need to add for that? New items. What tasks can we do for that? And what tasks do we need to ask someone else for on that?
We can do it. Like the blog is public. It's just maintained by SIG docs.
Right.
Yeah. So we just got to follow their process. That's all.
Okay. So we should update the blog, but then
I can find the blog post in GitHub and literally it's a one-line change. That's it. We just need to add the message to it.
hopefully it's been updated in like our list of SIGs somewhere.
Oh, that's a good point. SIG list. Hang on. I'll find it.
Because that might be like a SIG ContribEx shares thing or something, but it might be in a thing.
Usability
You know
is
where it
not in the
is?
SIG list.
Okay, so. Good to know. Maybe we should have a deprecated SIGs list. Wouldn't that be
Well,
funny?
there is
Especially with, like-
somewhere. There's a
Is there?
there's like a history of doing that and all the pull requests and everything, right? Like, because it seems
It'd be
like
interesting to look at.
like you wouldn't want to leave that just hanging out in your GitHub repo, like all the structure and everything that they created, right? Like you would want to archive that somehow.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so it sounds like just update the blog post
Mhm.
would be good enough there. All right.
I mean, it does
that, I
have the
think-
blue banner that says this article is more than 1 year old. Older articles may contain outdated content.
There's that.
Which is
But
great,
we should,
but
yeah.
yeah, we should do more.
yeah, or at least we should maybe talk with the blogging folks about doing more. I
Mhm.
mean, maybe if we did that, it would call attention to the blog in a way that we don't want. Like it would put it at the top of the blogs list or something, which would be kind of
No,
weird.
You'd have to change the date in Hugo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They
So
do it by date.
Yeah, you just literally add a line,
Okay.
like a code block, basically, I think, or whatever the
Sounds
indentation is,
like we
and
should do that
off you
then.
go. Now, it's just a matter of
Um,
finding the actual blog post in GitHub.
how should we assign that work? Is that something that maybe FICA could do with Frederico's help? What do you all think?
Sure.
Frederico, opinions on updating the SIG usability blog to say this is not a thing anymore?
Yeah, I agree. I think that we should. It's useful to add that note. I just don't know if we should do much more than that, right? Like
No, we
trying
shouldn't.
to
Yeah.
check if the broken links are fixed, etc. Because it's as Chris mentioned, older stuff gets changed all the time, and I guess
Mhm.
that if we try to change every single one, I think it would be a struggle. But anyway, I agree that adding that because this is a significant change, right? So
Mhm.
I think so. I think we can. This is opening a PR against the article, and with the change. I mean,
FICA already
we can
put an idea for what the
yeah.
message could look like in the chat.
And FICA, do you want to open the PR yourself?
Yeah, I could do that.
That'd be wonderful.
It's good.
I'm
The one
finding
that I
the
wrote.
article right now.
If you need any guidance, help, etc., just ping us and ping me or whatever. But it's essentially finding the article in the repository and
I'll try to
creating a branch and
I
I
was
just
able
dropped
to
the.
locate SIG usability blog actually
Okay, good.
on this one. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so I would just, before the introduction here, add a line. The SIG is, the SIG has been deprecated or something to that effect.
All
I
right,
don't even,
sounds
I don't
good.
even think we need the dear readers, we regret to inform you kind of thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, we could
probably
change
doesn't need to be that.
you could point to the issue or the PR that closed the SIG. Like that would make sense, right? Because that would follow the conversation of why it was closed.
That would make sense.
If you can find that one, which it sounds like you might have already.
This is lovely. Thank you very much, FICA, for going over that and finding that issue.
Yeah. It makes me wonder what else is out there that might be dead.
That's why it's wonderful to have new folks with fresh eyes who can look
Yeah.
at things.
Yeah, but how did we not hear about a SIG closing is what I want to know. Like,
I mean,
I feel like
plenty
that's
of
pretty
ways I
big
wouldn't
news.
hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
Sounds like they just sent it out over email. It's not like they made a big deal out of it or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
I just
typically
attend the SIG
don't.
ContribEx stuff, so if they didn't mention it in any of those meetings, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Thank you very much. I think we've got a plan there.
Yeah.
And that is all that we had in the notes. So I was going to move into the board, unless folks have anything else they want to talk about before I do. Very good. Let's move into the board. So ready for review. So is this, you used the same PR, right, Frederico, for the updates?
Yep.
About shadowing? I had already put an LGTM and an approve on it because I was thinking that you were saying that you're going to just send that one because those were good updates too,
yeah,
and then do a different PR, but you did a different commit.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to unhold that once we're ready to do that. Sorry about messing up the process.
No, and also another LGTM because since I changed the contents, it was removed. So
Okay, that's good.
You need the both.
Yeah. Perfect. So I will try to review that. If anyone else wants to review that information, you are more than welcome. Log shadow. Somehow my to-do list gets really long on Fridays. And then not all of it gets done. And then the next Friday comes and it happens again. It's weird. Deprecated comms event role. I did review that last week and that one merged. But now we're going to do something else with it. But I think I'll go ahead and put that one in done. And we'll make sure that the new one is on the board. Sound good, Avinash?
Yep, I've also shared the link to the new PR in the docs.
Perfect. Wonderful. So Jay, what was this issue that you sent? Is that the nice? Thank you. So Sujay found the PR where SIG usability was archived.
Beautiful.
I'll put that in the notes. Fika, you might want to use that in your PR to update that blog.
Yeah, just add a link to it.
Thank you very much for finding that. Yes. Oh, and then that's a good thing to grab too. Wonderful. And I'll also add this link to the Google group that you mentioned, Fika. Thank you. All right, so continuing board stuff. So that is still ready for review. Any spotlight updates? SIG architecture, I think we already talked about testing. Yeah.
Yes, SIG architectures. I've updated the issue with all the received inputs. I've also briefly discussed this with the SIG architect shares, and I'm going to attend the next meeting so we can have a conversation that I will turn into a, let's call it SIG architecture spotlight introduction, because what I have now, it's the sub-project, right? So we will have both the 5 different sub-projects and also this umbrella description of SIG architecture. But this will be done by video next week, and I'll convert it into the blog. In terms of what's done, the code organization one, I went there to make a check and saw that I had mixed up the link to the document, so Madhav didn't have the right link, but now he has. And Liggett is out on vacation, so I'll ping him when he gets back. The other 3 are done. I'm reviewing them and making them into something more coherent. And after I have the input from the next in the next meeting, maybe we can discuss how should we go about the series, right? Doing 3 articles that cover groups of them, 1 per project, whatever.
Sounds good. Progress in the works. Some important stuff in SIG architecture. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah. When it's done, I think it will be very interesting because it will cover all the different aspects of the SIG architecture. So yeah.
Seems like it. Didn't know that Madhav was active in architecture, which is I find quite funny since he's a tech lead of SIG ContribEx.
As in the code organization.
Yeah. By the way, you're never limited to one SIG. You're always welcome to get involved in as much or as little as you want. Sometimes new folks are worried about that. They're like, oh, but I can't go check out this other SIG that I'm interested in because I'm already in this one. And I'm like, no, you can do it. Madhav is apparently everywhere. We have some really active folks in our group, which is wonderful. We already talked about testing. We already talked about book reading club. ContribEx. Oh yeah,
that's
the blogging
one
guidelines
that I mentioned. Yeah.
So this one is ready for review, right?
No, that one is not. No, I haven't pushed my commits, my changes. It just opened, and I will. It has no PR, just an issue.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Create an automation folder in the contributor comms repo. Oh yeah, that was the thing that we were talking about doing. That's a Sujay thing. Have you and or Chris talked about that at all? Probably not. Yeah.
We need to.
Mm,
And
Yeah,
sadly, Sujay, I have a meeting right after this, so it might not be till later till I pass the creds over to you. So
Cool. I think that's a
sorry,
sufficient update for
I
them.
don't have a meeting right after this one. Oh, you
no,
do.
I do.
He
Oh,
does.
sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no worries.
But
Um,
I can open a PR to add the the announcement board, the doc about the
Yeah.
announcement board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for
Right, that's what we
holding
needed
that
to do.
for long. Yeah, I'll open a PR after this meeting.
Right. Announcement bot. That is a much better way to say it than Slack bot. We should do that. We
Yeah,
should make
yeah,
that a
yeah.
thing. I'm gonna add that comment. Very good comment. Notify comms team when a new issue is created. So I think Sujay, we had talked about this a couple weeks ago, that this was the thing that we were trying to figure out. I put all the old notes in here and you were gonna start looking into that again a little bit. Guessing you haven't done anything on that yet?
Nope.
I clicked away from it.
We had a discussion, but we was not to any conclusion, like
Yeah,
how to do it.
something to look into when you have the time, I think. There's some other things
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your list probably before this, but should I move it back to do for now? It's not actively being worked on.
I think that's reasonable to move it
Cool.
into the, at least for now.
We still need to update the contributor comms GitHub team. I usually pass over this each time. I was thinking earlier today, actually,
yeah.
though, that Avinash, we could use your help.
Oh,
You're really
I
good at
won't
making sure
write
these
this
kinds of things get done.
Sure,
Uh,
I'll update it, but I'm not really sure. Is there any specific updates that we need to do in it?
So the way this works, so here's the contributor comms team in this doc, and you see it's got Atarva and it's got Rajula. So like this is pretty out of date. Verniswar. It's got a bunch of folks in here who aren't really active. Deba Brada isn't really active in here anymore. All of the folks in here except you, me, and Chris pretty much can be removed and should be replaced with folks who are regulars on our call.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we using teams.yaml anyway?
Like this is not just us. It's also got community milestone maintainers, community admins, project board, SIG contributor experience as a whole, YouTube admins. So this is a more of a SIG level thing than an us level thing that we should update. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep, I'll update then.
I don't know if people actually do keep it up to date, but we should.
I think the main reason we created this, and I can be wrong over here, was because of the template thing that we were trying.
I don't know. Could be, because it doesn't seem like every sub-project within SIG ContribEx has a thing in here. I don't really know what this does. It's a fair point.
So I've got my in my GitHub handle, I see contributor comms as a team over there. So maybe, and I remember Bob came and he told us that this is the way we do if you want to tag in a template the teams, right? That
Yeah,
was the
Right. So this
discussion.
is also important for making sure the whole team knows when an issue is created. This would be key to that if we ever figure that out.
Yeah.
Also, I'm still to update the owners file, which I remember now, for both the tweet repo. Are we doing tweet repo?
Yeah. We
Yeah,
should
might as
update it for
well.
the tweet repo because
Okay.
that's
Still
important
ours.
for, yeah, for tech leads especially, which is why we need to update it.
So I'll do both of them.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you, Avinash. We really appreciate your help there. You've been doing great stuff. What's next? So add all use cases for Zapier automation. We already talked about Zapier a good bit today. Anything else you want to add there, Chris?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Spotlights on SIG Node. We already talked about SIG ContribEx and SIG release. Any updates on SIG Node first? Arpit
Yep.
is taking over that.
Yes, so Nitesh has actually shared the doc file with me for questions, so I will actually work on it.
Sounds good. Yeah. So I should update this and say got past work August 4th. Can move on from there. That seemed like a good update.
Sure.
Think so. All right. Keep us updated on your progress on that and if you need any help. SIG ContribEx we already updated is in draft, which is wonderful and exciting. In draft is August 4th. Update that comment. SIG release, Nitish. Any updates there? If Nitish is still on. Yep, he is. It says that you're not muted, but I don't hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
There you go.
All right, sorry for that. So I
Okay.
got reached out by Adolfo regarding if I have got the answers. Then I texted him regarding that, no, I have not. But yesterday, once again, in the same Slack group which we have created with the release members, I got an update that the answers would be shared by tonight or by tomorrow itself. Maybe I will draft a I will send a reminder once again. This is the first update that I have. And the second update that I have is, so in the LFX portal, Kubernetes has this project for the automation of the work under the SIG release, right? And so according to the SIG Spotlight blog series, we are planning to craft 2 blocks for the SIG release, and the second one is based on the release engineering, right? And if we look at the LFX portal, the project is mostly revolving around the release engineering stuff for the automation of the work that SIG release does. So I'm in direct contact with Marco on what is the LFX project doing, and based on that, I am working on crafting the questions that are needed to be asked to the maintainers for the sub project of release engineering. I'll combine those two as well, and I think this would eventually be a bit of play as well, because I don't want that one thing should be kept left and we don't focus on the other things. So meanwhile, I'm not getting the answers from the one release. I will be crafting the questions for the other set of the sub projects, and then we'll be moving further.
So one of the 2 sub-project blog posts can move forward and the other one you're still waiting on?
I am waiting on the answers for the for the release stuff, like the shadows and all the stuff. But I think it was already given, I think 1 or 2 months ago, and I don't want to extend the other sub project questions too long just because we are not working on one, right? So I think maybe I should. This is the time now I should focus on the other one as well, not delaying it much longer, because eventually we planned that maybe we can release the blog before the new release, and we already know the new release is so close. So I think maybe drafting the two together would be a great fit now.
Okay. If you think that is something that you can do, sounds good to me. Okay, so I'll put a note that you're planning to start the second sub-project blog. Is that a good note for that? probably. Also August 4th. Very good. Thank you very much for your work on that, Nitish. Next is all the shadow requirements. I was really hoping to get to that in the last week, but I had some deadlines and I haven't done it yet. But hopefully, Arpit. We are trying to work on some social media stuff. Arpit is working toward being a shadow for a social media lead, which I think we should probably do that PR pretty soon since you're doing some stuff there. So as we do that, maybe we should update the shadow requirements. Maybe we can work together on that. Maybe that'd be a good idea. I don't know, but we'll talk about it later. And spotlight on the contributor summit. Any updates there?
No, I've sent the questions and I'm waiting on the answers. I can let me check quickly if I have something. I didn't.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah. It was. No, still no content,
Still
but I
waiting.
haven't acknowledged. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. And we only have 3 minutes left, so I'll do my usual speed run through the to-do lists, just in case there's anything that needs to change status. SIG API machinery, still an available spotlight. There are plenty of others as well, in case anyone's interested in a spotlight. Guidelines for sensitive and user impacting comms. Maybe someday we'll do that. Case study based on article. That's never gonna happen. We should probably move that to we have a won't fix. Yeah, should probably move that to won't fix at some point. But I want to run that by Chris first, and he already dropped off. So maybe later. Promote new contributor workshop content. Exciting update on that. In the SIG meeting on Wednesday, Craig Peters was there and he shared some of his progress there. He has something working that he was asking for feedback on. So what we're waiting for there is GitHub Spaces integration, so that we have this new course on the contributor website that's aimed to help you understand how to be a contributor to Kubernetes. And part of that is like making PRs and doing things with GitHub and stuff like that. So they want to make sure that you have an environment to do those pieces in, kind of like a tutorial. So GitHub Spaces is going to provide that. And there's been a lot of work going on to make that work. And we're hoping that'll all be done by KubeCon. So soon. Spotlight on SIG K8's infra, also an available one. This one is assigned to Sandipan. Oh, right. You were still trying to decide if you were going to take this one or if you wanted to do something different.
Currently, I am now working on the SIG testing, so
Okay,
either we
cool.
can go forward with the both, or we can just finish with SIG testing and then do the SIG K8's infra.
Sounds good. Going with SIG testing. I should probably update the SIG testing one and assign that one to you. This one. Oh. I don't have permission to edit this field. I guess because it's in contributor site. Wow. Interesting. I will put it in a comment. Federico, you might want to add Sandipan on there as the assignee, because apparently I can't.
But we can do it. Wait, let me go there. maybe we can use Pro to do it. Give me 1 second.
And then the only other item to do is the notify comms team when a new issue is created, which we already talked about. And we are at time. So if you need to drop, you're all good. I think we've hit everything for today. And we thank you for joining us today. If not, I think we'll hang out for a little bit, but I think we will go ahead and stop the recording. So goodbye, YouTube.